evening, and welcome to the Curriculum Evaluation Committee meeting, Monday, September 20th, 2021. It is 6 p.m. We are in the Nashua High School North Boardroom. We have in attendance Mr. Ray Garino.
Here.
Miss Gloria Timmons.
Here.
And Miss Kimberly Sarfty. And myself, Jessica Brown. We do have a quorum. All right, so we're just going to dive right in here this evening. Our first item is the English Language Learner Professional Development Update.
Yeah, so as everybody knows, the Nashua School District has entered into a settlement agreement with the Department of Justice. Over the past 2 months, district administration has met with 2 outside agencies. We provided a summary of the Nashua School District's needs to the outside agencies. They both came to us and presented proposals. We decided to seek the input of our ELL teachers and also just other individuals from district office, Mr. Bob Chopa, Dr. McKinney, myself, and a few other individuals. And together as a collective team, we decided to pursue a partnership with an agency called West Ed Consulting. And the reason why we chose West Ed Consulting is because one of the main components of the program is for us to build internal capacity. So with that, we're training our most highly qualified ELL teachers to become trainers across the district. One of the pieces of the settlement agreement with the DOJ involves 10 hours of in-person professional development focused on sheltered English immersion for all K through 12 teachers. And those who deliver the professional development have to be ELL certified. So we're very lucky that we have a pretty significant base of ELL certified teachers here in Nashua. And so we reached out to them and asked if they would be willing to participate in extensive training and then also in providing professional development to their colleagues. So we will have a formal contract for you all that will be presented at the October meeting.
Excellent. And does anyone have any questions from the committee? Nope. All right.
Oh, I do have one question. I'm sorry, Miss.
Go ahead, Ms. Timmons.
The consultants, are they out of New Hampshire or where are they located?
Yep, so West Ed Consulting is out of California.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay. And one other question, how would that work for the consultant out there to evaluate or emulate what's happening here, because they have more diversity out in California? So how would it fit into our curriculum?
Yeah, so that's a great question. So again, the professional development that we have to deliver to all of our teachers in Nashua has to be focused on sheltered English immersion, which is a type of pedagogy that we've adopted when we have English language learners in our classroom. So those practices are universal, but certainly, you know, I can attest to the fact that the folks that we met with from West Ed, they are actually very familiar with this area because they are pretty big, and we're also looking at adopting. Well, we're also looking at a partnership with SNHU because they have collaborated many times over the past with West Ed so that we can pursue a pathway towards dual certification for our teachers who are interested in becoming ELL certified.
All right, thank you.
Excellent. I really appreciate you going above and beyond and looking at local areas as well for updating those opportunities for teachers to get certification. I think that's going to be a priority over the next few years. So at this time, since the contract is going to be presented in October, you're not looking for a motion right now?
Okay. Yep, that's correct.
Okay, then I think I just let the record show Miss Paula Johnson joined us as a tenant for the meeting. Thank you. And we can move on to the Rebus Paraprofessional Development.
It's a lot of P's there. Yeah, so again, we are committed to serving our English learners. English learners are our fastest growing population. They are in this school district and they are in school districts all across the country. And so we want to be able to offer meaningful professional development to our paraprofessionals. We have a number of early release days that are embedded in our school calendar. And so during those early release days, we would like to provide paraprofessionals with the opportunity to engage in these 3 asynchronous modules. We actually hand-selected these modules based on the needs of our students specifically. The first one has to do with just the overview rather of the English language learner experience, so that paraprofessionals and just educators in general can relate to some of the struggles that our English learners are going through. The next module has to do with teacher language and social emotional learning, and certainly the social emotional needs of English learners differ from native English speakers who don't have to navigate, being in a new setting with a new culture, a new language. Those types of unfamiliarities they present some different challenges. And then also, we have a number of students who are English learners, but who are also students who receive special education services. And so those students definitely have unique needs, and we know that a large number of our paraprofessionals work with those students specifically, so we wanted to be able to focus on those students' needs. Excuse me. So pretty much this is, Rebus is a pretty big organization out of Massachusetts, and what they would be offering is asynchronous professional development. Paraprofessionals who engage in this learning have the ability to go sort of above and beyond if they want to. Like if they're looking for more learning and they're looking for more information based on these 3 topics that I previously mentioned, they're going to be able to do that because these modules are very robust and they offer a lot of expansion activities.
Excellent. Do I have any questions? Mr. Greeno, go ahead.
Oh, thank you. Thank you, Madam Chair. I was just wondering if we might already be doing these things, but do we know if our paras are interested in becoming certified teachers down the line? And also, do we know how many languages, like how many other languages than English that our paras speak? Did we ever do any kind of survey?
So I don't have a concrete answer for either one of those questions, but I will say that in my experience, and even from the feedback that I've heard here in Nashua, a lot of individuals will come out of college, they start off as paraprofessionals, and then eventually they move towards becoming certified teachers. I would imagine that there are a large number of paraprofessionals who want to pursue teacher certification, but I don't have a concrete number for you. And then when it comes to bilingualism, I'm not sure how many other languages we have out there, but that would be something that we definitely could probably look into. I'm not sure how much information we're allowed to seek in that area. I don't want to violate any rules or anything. I'm not sure how much we can ask about that. But I certainly know that we do have a number of paraprofessionals who are bilingual, which is certainly beneficial.
Right. And the reason why I'm asking that is because I know there's a shortage of labor actually there's a shortage of labor, and we have a lot of paras and they do a lot of good work, and to encourage them to become certified where they may not think about it, and just to take advantage of the resources that we already have. Some of them might already be bilingual in different languages, so I thought it might be maybe our department, our human resource department, have already thought of this, but I thought it might be a good idea to kind of tap into the resources and the manpower that we already have, and it would be nice to encourage people to for professional development and stay with the system, starting off at a para for so many years and then actually becoming certified, and then even becoming an ELL, which is where we need the shortage, trying to encourage that. So that's the reason why I was asking these questions.
Yeah, and I also think too, when I just talked about the update for the DOJ settlement, I mean, one of the things that we really want to do is build internal capacity. Right. So we definitely want to encourage our paraprofessionals who would like to pursue teacher certification to go down that road for sure. Because like you said, we want people to stay in this district. Right. And a lot of people started out as paras, just right here in Nashua, and then kind of moved their way up, so.
Yes, Ms. Timmons.
I have a question regarding the licenses. You're going to purchase 250 paraprofessional licenses at $100 each using the title fund, 2A fund. I have a question. How many paraprofessionals now do we have? That's number one. And can we get the 250?
So we actually have more than 300 paraprofessional positions, but they're not all filled.
Right.
Right. So this 250 this would take care of the paraprofessional positions that are filled.
Okay.
And we also have some paraprofessionals who work in specialized positions who might not be able to take advantage of this professional development at this time because they're going to be pursuing professional development that's more pertinent to their specific roles with intensive needs students. But this 250 number would take care of all of the paraprofessionals that we have here. So if we use all 250 licenses, that's what we'll be charged for, and if not, then we'll be charged for what we use.
Oh, okay, thank you.
Yes, Ms. Johnson.
Thank you very much. The contract is for $25,000. That includes the licenses?
Yes, that $25,000, that includes, that's everything. That's the licenses, that's every component for the 3 modules that I mentioned before. It talks about interaction with the instructor, having the ability to respond to forum postings and questions, written assignments. The instructor would also assess the written assignments that are submitted by participants, quizzes, setup. There is an Amazon web hosting fee. We're actually getting a really good deal on this price because I know that the Amazon web service hosting fee is a pretty hefty fee, but because of the fact that we have a large volume of licenses that we're purchasing, we were able to get a good price.
And this price won't fluctuate up. If we don't use all the licenses, it would go down. Is that it?
Yeah, yep, that's correct.
Thank you.
And I actually had just a question. This is coming from a grant funding, the $25,000?
Yep, this will come from Title IIA funds.
All right. And my other last question was it says the paraprofessionals contracted release times on these following dates. Is that the tentative, like optional dates to complete the work for this year, or is that, are all of those dates part of this program, the 3 modules to finish? It's on the second page here, in the middle.
First page. Oh,
Sorry.
Under it says paraprofessionals have contracted release time on the following dates: October 20, December 8th, January 12th.
oh, on this page, second page.
No, it's okay.
Yes, I'm sorry. So those early release dates are embedded in our school calendar, and paraprofessionals are working during that time. So this will be during their work time, but it's when students would be released early.
Okay. All right. Yeah, just to make sure that they weren't having to come in on other off days. All right.
No. Yep.
Does anyone else have any questions at this time? No? I'm going to go ahead and move to recommend that the curriculum and evaluation, move to recommend to approve the proposed Rebus and Associates contract for professional development for paraprofessionals and for the amount of $25,000 using the 1920 Title IIA funds. Can I get a second?
I'll second.
And a second from Mr. Guarino. All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, motion passes. Okay, and moving on to the third item on our agenda, the Mount Prospect Academy.
Okay. So So Mount Prospect Academy offers school-based counseling. Typically, these school-based counseling programs are they're programs that are extended to students that have some significant challenges. And these programs are youth-driven, they're family-driven, and they're certainly trauma-informed. And some of the components of the program include assessments, so figuring out what individual students need, group counseling, individual counseling, and then certainly consultation and collaboration with school personnel. If we have some students who are exhibiting maybe some challenging behaviors or who need some significant support in school, the folks from Mount Prospect Academy are able to collaborate with individuals in school so that we can figure out how to meet a wide range of students' needs and make sure that we're supporting the student throughout the school day.
Anyone have a question to begin? Ms. Johnson?
Thank you. So when we're doing, tell me about, we'll start with the group counseling first. Can you explain the group counseling?
Yep, so if you turn to the last page where it says Exhibit A, you'll see the detailed list of services. And what it talks about with regard to the group counseling is that the group counseling focuses on increased skill building and decreasing anxiety and depression to improve overall functioning and stability in students' home and school settings. It talks about how there are two types of groups for students. One is the emotional skills group, which includes adventure-based counseling techniques and also art therapy group. And that both of those types of therapy are offered to grades K through 12, and the types of therapy that are offered are definitely determined by the needs in each individual school.
So how many would you possibly have in that group?
So I can't say for sure. I'm not sure. I mean, that certainly would depend on the clinicians and what would be appropriate for the students and their individual needs. So I don't think that there's a set number. I think it depends on what the students need specifically. Some students might do better in a larger group setting, and some might not do so well in a larger group setting.
Okay, so when we are talking about the counseling, are we meeting with the parents prior to sitting down with them, saying that these are the needs that we feel that aren't being met, that these are the challenges your child is having, and it's almost like an IEP meeting or 504 meeting?
Absolutely. So it says here that that they have to have consent to participate from all members who are attending group therapy or group counseling, I should say.
Okay, so we send out like consent letters to the parents, right?
Absolutely. So the parents would be fully informed when it comes to students receiving these services.
Okay, perfect. Thank you very much.
Yep.
Any other questions?
I just want to make a comment. I think this is really beneficial for our district and for the kids in the district. We certainly need it, and I wholeheartedly support it.
One thing I just wanted to mention too is that, so as a district, we have embraced the Choose Love curriculum. And that's a curriculum that's based in social emotional learning and development of students in a classroom. And the great thing about this Mount Prospect partnership is that the folks from Mount Prospect will marry the Choose Love components into their individual and group counseling sessions so that the language that students are hearing is consistent all throughout their school day.
That's good to hear.
We did have Ms. Lewis come, I think 2 years ago, or 2 years ago, and she did a presentation. It was spectacular, and I support Choose Love. We need love, lots of it. not just children too. We need everybody. And it starts from the home down, so.
All right, thank you. Do actually have just a few more questions. I think it sounds, obviously, we have a high need going on right now. So what process do we have in place for the kids, the students that will be selected for this type of group counseling?
Certainly. So we definitely have students who have counseling services listed in their IEPs, their 504s, and so what typically happens is that a team is convened when we're talking about the needs of a student. Usually a team is convened. Sometimes assessments are administered to figure out exactly what students need, to find out if they have a suicide risk, or to find out where they're at in terms of their own personal needs. And so based on that, and based on whatever's in their IEPs, but based on whatever's in their 504, that's when students would be offered these specific services.
And do we know at this time how many opportunities there'll be? How many students we could probably most likely service? And if you don't have that number right now, if there's just a general estimate, it would be great to have that before the full board.
Absolutely, we can get that for you. I will say that, since the pandemic hit, for the last 18 months, we have students who have increased needs. So I would imagine that number would be higher than it typically has been in the past with regard to students who require group and/or individual counseling.
Right. And honestly, the reason I ask is because I know there's an increased need. And so I want to make sure that we're able to use our funds to service as many children in the community as we can, but also this does seem like a quality program that's got set up. Hold on, I think I had one more question here. Are these classes, my last question is the amount of time approximately a student might spend in part of these programs outside of class?
Yeah, so a lot of times that would be outlined in the IEP or in the 504. Typically, the service minutes would be outlined, but I will definitely say that making sure that we're attending to students' SEL needs will definitely yield benefits when it comes to academics, for sure.
And my last question is this coming from a specific fund? Take your time, it's okay.
Number 5, it says fees on page 2. Right here.
So at this time, I'm not sure what the funding source is, but I most certainly can get that for you.
It said Exhibit B, and let's look at Exhibit B, see where that might be. Exhibit A and Exhibit, we have Exhibit B.
So I think we should go ahead and do a motion, but I wonder if we should make it contingent on finding out the funding source, because I think that would be appropriate. Yeah, Ms. Johnson, do you have a question?
Yeah, just one last question, just a follow-up on what was said. In the pandemic, these last 18 months, we have increased needs for individuals or groups. Could you just kind of brush over what kind of needs the students are having more now since the pandemic? What is causing some of this?
So I can't speak to what's causing our increased needs, but I do know that I do know that over the last 18 months, we're seeing an uptick in students who have some anxiety and some other challenges, for sure. I can't speak to why that would be.
And that's basically it, more anxiety, more challenges. So when you're saying challenges, are we going to find out, I think in October maybe, where our students are basically academically, if any of them have fallen behind, and if so, what we're going to be doing to moving them along to catch them up?
Absolutely. So we're going to have data for you in October. Yep. The New Hampshire SAS for students in grades 3 through 8, the New Hampshire SAS interims will be administered by October 6th, and so we'll be able to have that data for you beforehand. And we also have some kindergarten assessment data and then some foundational grade, K through 2 data for you as well.
And what about the upper grades? Are we having any data on that?
So there will be data, there definitely will be data from the upper grades. Mr. Parker would be able to speak to that better than I could, but certainly we have an assessment calendar, and the assessment calendar goes K through 12, and so there are non-negotiable assessments that will be administered K through 12.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Greeno?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Go ahead.
I actually do know the funding source. I did not want to misspeak, but thank you, Dr. McKinney. ESSER funds will be paying for these services.
Could you repeat that again? What funds?
ESSER funds. So essentially, it's grant funds. Yep.
Oh, grant.
Yep.
Okay.
Good answer.
Yep. I was going to say that that this is a very worthwhile contract. Even before the pandemic hit, we were getting emails from students as well as parents for the need for counseling. And as I'm reading this is not only for students that have an IEP or 504, but it's for the general population too. And I think for the general population, I think we need these counseling services. I know that there are a lot of barriers to education, like trauma, that our teachers talked about during the teachers' presentations, and this is something that can help here to address that, as well as social and emotional learning, which is I think important. So I am very much in favor of this, and maybe I can make the motion to approve this contract. So I would move to approve the proposed Mount Prospect Academy contract, school-based counseling programs for the amount of $500,000 to be paid for through the grant.
Second.
All right. Motion by Mr. Guarino and seconded by Ms. Timmons. And all right, all in favor?
One second, can we put the name of the grant to make sure?
He added, it's from the ESSER funds.
Okay, you did say
I
that.
didn't actually say the name because I'm
Okay.
hard of hearing and I didn't hear what.
So I will edit the motion. The motion will be on the floor. It will be move to recommend to approve the proposed Mount Prospect Academy contract school-based counseling program for the amount of $500,000 to be paid for from the ESSER funds.
Yes.
Okay.
Right. All right. All in favor?
Aye.
All right. Motion passes unanimously. All right. Is there any new business this evening? No? All right. I'm looking for a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
All right. Thank you, Ms. Timmons, and seconded by Mr. Guarino. And all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And we are adjourned at 6:32.